Hey, everybody, welcome. I'm here with the comedian Ron Placone. Hey, Ron, how are you?
Hey, Jimmy, how's it going?
Good. Also, Hank Thompson is with us, as always.
Everybody calm down. I'm here.
And so
There he goes.
We played this on the show before. It's the UN ambassador, our United States ambassador to the UN, and she's upset about Russia and Syria, and she said this stuff.
To the Assad regime, Russia and Iran, your forces and proxies are carrying out these crimes. Your barrel bombs and mortars and airstrikes have allowed the militia in Aleppo to encircle tens of thousands of civilians in your ever-tightening noose. It is your noose. 3 member states of the UN contributing to a noose around civilians. It should shame you. Instead, by all appearances, it is emboldening you. You are plotting your next assault. Are you truly incapable of shame? Is there literally nothing that can shame you?
So, again, we did this yesterday. It's just disgusting. That's just disgusting what she's doing because Assad is fighting, first of all, as if we're better. In the United States, right now, we've set the Middle East on fire. Literally. And here we are, from Iraq, where we kill hundreds of thousands of people, millions displaced. Libya, we turned it into a failed state. Now we've dropped so many bombs in Syria, we ran out of bombs. We're still in Afghanistan 15 years later. And by the way, when we went into Afghanistan, all the aid agencies warned us not to go in because half the population was living on the brink of starvation. And we did it anyway. We went in and we bombed everyone. We don't give a shit. So that woman is full of shit, and don't believe one goddamn person from the American government. Why? Because I was listening to a real journalist. Because here's a woman, her name is Eva Bartlett, and she's an independent Canadian journalist. And this is she went to Aleppo. She went there, and she has this. Let me see if this is the clip I want to play.
So that's to say that what we've been hearing in the corporate media is not depicting an accurate image of what's happening in Aleppo. The corporate media is saying that the Syrian army is attacking people, and until today, the corporate media is maintaining this, even though the exact opposite is true.
What? The exact opposite is true? The exact opposite is true? So I'm just going to break it down really quickly what's happening in Syria. Saudi Arabia, who we're in bed with because of the petrodollar, wants to overthrow Assad because they want to send a pipeline through Syria and sell natural gas to Europe. Assad said no because Russia sells most of that natural gas to Europe now, and they don't want the competition. So Assad is going with Putin, Russia. They're together. And guess what? Saudi Arabia sends a bunch of terrorists into Syria to start killing people, so we overthrow that government so they can put a pipeline through. And guess who's helping them? We are. The United States is helping to overthrow a sovereign nation. Why? And who are we fighting with? Our enemy, ISIS, and all the other offshoots. We're doing it. That's why Tulsi Gabbard had to put a bill in Congress that says the United States should stop funding terrorists today. So that's what's going on in Syria. Just so you know what's going on in Syria. We're the bad guys, as usual. We need to get the fuck out of Syria and stop the fighting in Syria, not keep fighting, trying to overthrow a government. And who are you going to put in its place? You're going to put ISIS in its place because that's who's fighting him. I know what you think you're going to put in place. You're going to put in a puppet, but let's get back to this. Well,
Well, Jimmy, I was just going to say a side note where she pointed out the misinformation from the corporate media. I mean, you point out the pipeline conflict of interest there, but another big thing to always keep in mind when viewing this stuff. Up until recently, MSNBC was owned by General Electric. Now they're owned by a much more principled company known for great customer service, Comcast. But they used to be owned by General Electric, meaning there's always been. My point is, there's always been this pro-war tint in the corporate media.
By the way, General Electric is a huge defense contractor.
Right.
What a better company to bring your news about a war.
Exactly. So there's always been this pro-war bent, and even though the ownership has shifted now, that's not going to go away right away. So we always have a bent pro-war media. We've had that for a long time now. And if other countries did something like that, we'd be outraged. But when we do it, it's free market.
And war sells papers. So let's go back. She has more to say.
I would ask you to follow the voices of people in Syria who, like my colleagues here said, they want you to speak the truth. They're tired of lies. They're very well aware of the lies that our media is purporting and that our human rights groups are purporting. They want an end to the violence. They don't want this war to continue. They didn't ask for this war. But as my colleagues stressed, Syria is a sovereign nation. It has the right to fight against terrorism. And we know that 101 of 193 UN member states have sent terrorists to Syria to...
Isn't that wild? 101 nations have sent terrorists into Syria. That's how much they want this pipeline. Isn't that something? And this isn't a Sunni Shia thing. That's what they're going to try and do that. No. The Sunnis are, the people of Syria, according to her, are supporting Assad. They don't want these terrorists in their country turning it into what it is. We're going to go on. She has more to say.
Slaughter and destroy. So Syria is fighting a war against terrorism. It's winning in Aleppo, and hopefully either the terrorists will accept a deal to be transported out of Aleppo. Hopefully they will participate in the Musalaha, the reconciliation, will lay down their arms, will take the amnesty offered to them by the government and which has been taken by thousands of former militants. And hopefully, above all, the U.S. will stop supporting terrorism and stop funding terrorism. And hopefully this new bill will take fire, will be supported, and actually it will be impossible to fund and armed mercenaries from FSA, Ahrar al-Sham, Noruddin al-Zinki, and all the colors in between, because they're all the same terrorists.
So what she just said was the United States is the terrorist in Syria. We're terrorists in Syria. Of course we are. But again, there's another religion and brown people somewhere else that are worse than us because they cut off people's heads with kitchen knives. They're horrible. Oh, guess who's funding them now? We are. Why? Because we're full of shit. That's why. Because it's all about fossil fuels and power and money, and it always has been. And when Chris Matthews shows a video of somebody cutting someone's head off with a kitchen knife and freaks out and demands the government go to war over it, that guy's a tool of the military-industrial complex, just like the rest of the media. That's why the media is failing. That's why our country's failing. Because the media is failing. Horribly, from the New York Times to CNN to MSNBC to jagoff podcasters to everybody, it's failing. And it comes down to a handful of people willing to tell the truth, like this woman who actually went on the ground there and found out what's happening in Syria and got through all the bullshit lies. That's what's happening in Syria. The exact opposite of what the U.S. news media is telling you is happening. We're there. We're the terrorists. Hey, we're doing another live Jimmy Dore show the day after Christmas, December 26th. We're doing a live Jimmy Dore show in Burbank, California. Come see it. There's a link for tickets right there.